Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the player stage at I-62. Now we've got something really exciting for you, Battalion 1944.
Yes, it's the Blitzkrieg Open Championship, an exciting new prospect of an esport in store for you guys. I'm very excited for this, with $5 up for grabs.
Not only $5 but also 5 unique golden camo skins for in-game. 5 exclusive skins are only available here today at I-62. So 5 players are going to take that home along with the $5 prize.
Well, before we dive too deeply into that, let's throw to our fantastic casters Hawker and Mitch to take us through this journey.
Thanks very much, Chris and Jess. We're going to be going live shortly with Avenue against Endpoint. Avenue coming into this best of 5 with a 1-map advantage after already beating Endpoint previously. I'm feeling pretty good for Endpoint coming into this. They've had a lot of time to think back over how yesterday played out and figure out exactly how Avenue took those 2 maps off them previously.
Yeah, exactly. But we said back in the group stages as well, Endpoint initially didn't lose a single map. And we also can talk about how Penta, pretty big favorites coming into this tournament, haven't even made the final. This is really the first sort of big LAN for Battalion. So it's been really interesting to see which teams have showed up. Some surprises in there. I think Avenue in particular, a very big surprise coming through that winner's bracket, as you were saying. And with that map advantage, they could very well take home that £5,000 here.
Absolutely. Talking to Endpoint, though, they've been feeling pretty confident coming into this. They think that they've had enough time to look back over the demos. They figured out exactly what went wrong. And, I mean, 3 maps to win for them. 2 for Avenue. It's a really winnable situation for either team. I mean, Endpoint, like you said, have been undefeated with the exception of Avenue. And they're going to want to get their revenge here, claiming 3 maps to take the victory.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, the maps are also going to be interesting heading into this one. Previously, we have seen certainly Endpoint on Coastal have been very, very good. But in general, Avenue have been performing on most of the maps, just generally due to more individual plays. I think Endpoint generally seem to use those nades slightly better. They generally potentially have the team play in there a little bit more. But I think for the most part, it is going to be that sort of factor coming into play. If Avenue show up, it's going to be quite difficult for Endpoint to compete with that individual skill coming in. So that's certainly something to watch for. I mean, on the Avenue side as well, I guess we can talk about in particular players. Mark was playing really well yesterday. He had that one game where he got 30 kills, which in a maximum of 24 rounds is always going to be impressive. So Avenue, they've certainly got a lot of skill across that entire roster. And then on the Endpoint side, a couple of new guys in the mix. J Money having a really good performance yesterday alongside Sus. We got to interview them yesterday as well. As you said, they were looking really confident heading into this one. And we can also talk about the economy system. You've got the snipers in play. Adimka picking up the sniper in general for Avenue. The way the sniper system works is that you don't necessarily always get the sniper. It depends on if you've been winning the rounds, you'll be in good shape to get that sniper out consistently. But sometimes teams don't even have to go for those snipers. Those normal rifles can be very powerful as well. The car in particular, a very strong rifle. So there's a lot of options. You're not going to get too much downtime here. This isn't like Counter-Strike where you get a lot of those eco rounds. There's always potential for the rounds to be won. Even the shotgun we've seen be hugely powerful. If you're watching for shotgun players, Saint6 on Endpoint has been picking up that shotgun very often. He's been great with that. So a lot of action going to be coming in today.
Indeed, we saw in Liberation he was able to hold down very well on the B side, pretty much by himself. He picked up a few 3Ks with the shotgun previously. And it looks like the players are joining up on the server. They'll be ready to go shortly, I'd imagine. And I'd say nerves pretty high at this point. I mean, like you said, this is the first big Battalion LAN. A really big tournament on show, and the opportunity to gain nice golden skins on hand, which there's no other way to gain those. So winning this, I mean, the loser is going to go away with £500 each per player. But everybody fighting for that 1,000 with the gold skins. A little bit of a delay as players taking their time getting on the server.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure the players are 100% ready to get into action, to make sure they are, fully ready. As we were saying, £5,000 for first place, 2.5k for second. Certainly not a bad prize pool. we also saw these two teams play back in the group stages. That's where Endpoint got that first win on Coastal 13-10. So heading into Coastal, which I believe is going to be our first map, this could be a very, very competitive one. But then we did see Avenue fight their way back after losing to Endpoint in the group stages. They won that previous best of 3 2-1 in the end. So this has been, a back and forth matchup, really hotly contested, and it's hard to predict which way it's going to go.
Absolutely, but Endpoint, like we said, being undefeated the whole way through, they've only lost to Avenue, so this is a real grudge match going on here. And they've got to show whether this was just a slip-up on their part. Of course, going through undefeated in the best of ones is possible. I mean, anybody can win a best of one. It's the best of threes that really provide the challenge. And if they can manage to pick up their 3 rounds in a row, they'll really show that yesterday was a mistake. I mean, Avenue had a lot of time. They were playing... We saw Endpoint getting a bye, so Avenue got to play more matches. They were possibly a little bit more warmed up. And they would have finished earlier, I believe. Endpoint were playing until about 1 o'clock yesterday. Or not yesterday, on Friday. And so that gave Avenue a little bit more time to actually watch Endpoint, learn out their strategies, and plan out exactly how they were going to beat them.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth mentioning on the Endpoint side of things. I mean, they've got a couple of sort of newer players, I guess you could say, whereas Avenue, a lot of these guys are very experienced from Call of Duty days. It seems as though on the Avenue side, especially when they're holding on that Axis side, on that defensive side, oftentimes their individual skill alone can bring them through, whereas on the opposite side of things, you see Endpoint pretty consistently use those nades really well. We've seen those nades in particular from Fancy be on point. The smokes have also been really well used. That's something that Avenue, we haven't seen them be as prepared for. So I'm interested to see, heading into this, best of 5, we've got a lot of maps to play. If those nades aren't fully on point and Avenue start to struggle, then they could really run the risk of falling behind. I think for Avenue, it's just all about those players showing up, and that did happen yesterday, but that might not be something they can consistently rely on.
Indeed. Avenue had some pretty good nade usage on Liberation when they played against Endpoint the original time. Already, Saint Six was holding down that B side with the shotgun quite consistently, but the nades did bait him out a few times, took him out of position, and indeed eliminated him another few. So, but I think Endpoint have been one of the stronger teams for nades overall across all the maps that they've played.
Yeah.
I mean, Fancy, and we got to talk about his double nade kills. I mean, they always come in 2s for Fancy. Absolutely incredible with the nades, and it just shows that Endpoint have had a lot of practice. They haven't been playing too much of the Invasion map, though, and I wonder if we'll see that coming out today. I think we only saw 1 game across the entirety of the tournament on that map. It's certainly not a favorite so far, based on what we've seen. On Coastal, the first map, this really could go either way. I don't think either team is particularly favored on this based on previous performances anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Endpoint certainly have been picking Coastal a fair amount of the time, but I don't think we've seen the maps come massively into play, to be honest. It seems like the teams overall, they have the maps they slightly prefer, but it's not been a massive difference. Oftentimes, it's just been starting on the Axis side, getting that strong start, which certainly helps a lot of these teams. That's something that comes through from the knife round, so that's something to watch out for as well. If you see, for example, Endpoint on that Axis side, on that defensive side, start to get rolling early on, that's not necessarily going to be them pulling away with the game. It's just, the way the game works right now, generally most teams much prefer that Axis side. I mean, the guns are really strong. Just getting those Kar 98s all the time, that can be hugely powerful. The STG, that sort of spray rifle as well, being very, very usable. So a lot of potential for the Axis side doing a lot of work here into this first map. But that's something we're going to have to wait and see if it comes into play when we head into the actual game.
Indeed, and we should be going into it shortly. Players all now on the server. I think they're having some final tactical talks there about this map. This is going to be so important. Picking up the first win, if Avenue can manage that, it means that Endpoint are going to have 3 consecutive wins. So this is hugely important for them. A lot of pressure going to be on them already, being 1 map down, and that second certainly wouldn't help.
Yeah, and I think this is pretty much a must-win for Endpoint, considering they've been picking this map already in the past. This is going to be a map that they're really going to want to come out strong, tie things up, and then go from there. That's exactly what Endpoint will be hoping for. I'm not sure if that's going to be so easy, though. Again, back in the group stages, we saw Endpoint play Avenue. These two teams played on this map. Endpoint only managed a 13-10 win. It was very close in the end there. And we'll see if the same comes in today. And also, we can talk about the fact that on Coastal, you fairly often do see those sniper plays come in towards mid fairly early on. You know, players can jump up onto that tree position, which you might see fairly often. That's a really strong position to watch in towards mid. And there's also, on the other side of things, there's some sandbags you can jump up on. You get a really good angle over to the top of mid. So seeing those sniper battles early on could be very important, because we've seen previously in this tournament, oftentimes whoever gets that opening kill just does a really good job at closing the round out. I mean, we saw in the last series yesterday, whoever was getting the first kill was almost always winning the round. So those opening picks are hugely important. And that's why those nades of Fancy was so impactful as well. Once you're in a 5v3, it seems like these teams are so good at closing them out.
Indeed, they have been so far able to close the rounds out once they get the advantage. Only a few, I think, able to come back from that 5v3. We saw some amazing plays previously in the second round, the second day. Yeah. I think those shotguns going to play a huge role here. We've seen shotguns being incredibly powerful, especially in the hands of Saint Six. And on a map like Coastal, where you have the ability to take control of that B house, that mid house, it can be very good if you can make the plays with the shotgun. I mean, pushing around Coast, it means you've got to pretty much have 5 players alive on the allied side to cover all those angles, all the pushes that can happen. We saw, I think, Froster on Penta taking amazing control of B, pretty much holding it solo with the shotgun on Coastal after he'd pushed through the B house. And that cost a lot of rounds for Endpoint previously. They're going to be aware of it this time, so maybe not an opportunity for Avenue to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and even the actual B site is really close quarters. You can have that shotgun play up on the stairs. The site itself is in a pretty close range room, so those shotguns can be hugely powerful there. And oftentimes you will see teams try and hit that B bomb site. So having that shotgun on either side can be hugely relevant. And we'll get to see who can come out on top in those engagements once we get into the matchup. But I guess we can also talk about, I mean, you know, we're not going to just throw predictions out there or anything, but just to give some context in this tournament, I think we've already said we expect this to be close. Do you expect this to go the distance all the way to 5 maps, or do you expect if one of these teams can get out to a strong start that they will be able to close out an easy win?
I think it's going to be very hard to call right now. We'll have to see how Endpoint play out on this map. If they can manage to win this, I think we could see it going to all 5 maps as the first already in favor of Avenue. But if Avenue can pick this up, Endpoint going to be in a very difficult situation. I mean, one slip up on any map, and especially the fact that, you know, Avenue managed to beat them yesterday. We need to see if Endpoint have managed to come back and really figure out exactly where they went wrong. A lot of the rounds that they lost, though, were 1 versus 1s. Came down to a small amount of HP left and ultimately could have went either way.
Yeah, that was certainly the case yesterday. I think that especially if Endpoint get off to that slow start, as you were saying, remember, Avenue, they went through the upper bracket, so they have the 1 map advantage for the final. So if Endpoint get off to a slow start, they are the ones that might start to feel already under that pressure somewhat. They might be thinking to themselves, okay, we've really got to make sure we come back on this map. Otherwise, we're down 2-0. We have to fully reverse sweep. That's just such a tough ask against an Avenue team that we've seen be so skilled individually. Obviously, we've got on the Avenue side of things, Quirks has been really good alongside Mark. I mean, Mark's had some ridiculous plays. There was even that one game where he was having a pretty poor game, and then in that one round, he just steps up, and I think he got an ace in the end. He just completely destroyed the opposition. So he's always a threat. You know, he's always pretty confident with himself. Very experienced players on the Avenue side of things. And that's something that Endpoint, they've got a bit of a mix on their side. A couple of younger guys in there, and we'll get to see how they cope with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mark actually, in that round, he got the first kill early on in the round. I think it might have been a nade. And he found himself being rushed down by 4 players. It looked like a pretty unwinnable situation. And out of nowhere, he just pulled himself out 4 kills. An absolutely incredible performance. And hopefully we'll see some more of that from him today. We have switched over the maps. It looks like we'll be starting off on Manor House V2, which is going to be a very interesting map. I'd say I'd probably give favorites towards Endpoint on this. They've been playing very well when I've seen them online. playing in Manor House. They're a pretty confident team overall, and again, the nade usage that they've been deploying across this series has been very strong, and on a map like Manor House, that can be essential. And the knife round will be going underway shortly, it seems. I think this is going to be a very pivotal knife round. If you can manage to make it over to the Axis side starting out and get a decent half, it's a lot of pressure on the Axis starting out in the second half, because you can manage to pressure out a few rounds at the start, fast rushes, catch them off guard, and indeed you have the ability to just poke it out and figure out how they're playing defensively.
Yeah, so quickly previewing Manor House in particular, I think that A site, generally you see the defensive Axis side not really put too many players towards A, because it's commonly the less hit site. You will see the barn position also be fairly important. That's a position where if you can get into there, you really already have the B site under control. And we've seen some teams be willing to put 3 players towards B, but one of those B players can actually find a really nice position from the back of the barn where they can see over the top of mid in towards that A site and help assist. So we've been seeing teams mostly put 3 of their players towards B. That makes those quick B plays quite difficult to pull off. So that B site is often where a lot of that early action can go down.
Absolutely. The A pushes can be shut down pretty quickly, though.
Yeah.
Because of that barn angle. It's a very difficult one to clear if you don't have a sniper card. And late on in the round, if they've managed to claim the 3 off you, they will more than likely be playing passive over on the A site. The problem with that is you're going to have a player towards the middle area as well. If somebody pushes up to a close barn, you pretty much have to give up the A site, because usually there is one player over towards the spawn area. And one smoke pretty much clears off the whole angle. If they've managed to take middle already, they're just going to push into the site, get that plant, and all of a sudden you're in a retake with about 50 seconds left. It's not ideal, especially if the majority of your players are over towards the B site. You've got to be careful of the rotations coming back over. I'm going to be pretty interested to see how Endpoint start off their allied side, whichever half that may be, because they've got a lot of pressure on them. I feel like in a way they have to play a little bit more passive, because if they lose the early on rounds on the allied side, again, whichever half, that's going to give Avenue a massive boost of confidence, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on Endpoint straight away if they are forcing them, if they do force themselves into having pretty much flawless halves, into having to.
Yeah, and we can talk about some of the players as well. Endpoint are on your screen right now. The lineup is going to be Sus, J-Money, Saint 6, Fancy, and Icons. We've talked about Fancy with those nades. Saint 6 oftentimes goes to that shotgun, sometimes that SMG. And then, you know, J-Money has also been very, very impactful, as well as Sus, actually. Sus quite often seems to be the player who, you know, is willing to go aggressive, is willing to take a bit of a risk to get that opening kill. And that can be really, really valuable for a team.
Absolutely. Icons with the sniper has been very powerful as well, shutting down middle areas on most maps. But moving over onto the Avenue side, I think we've got to bring up Kostya. His flanks have been on point so far, catching multiple kills usually. Especially when he has that SMG card, you got to watch for him pushing around behind your team. He's a very intimidating character. Meanwhile, Mark is, I think, a little bit more passive. He's kind of the nade player for Avenue. We saw him picking up a couple of frags on Derailed the other day. But the STG in his hand, he's proven as a pretty lethal weapon.
Yeah, that sniper battle could be interesting as well. As you were saying, Icons has done pretty well for Endpoint. We've seen Endpoint sometimes shy away from that sniper. I think that's just kind of the tendency of the game. The way the game plays itself out is that you have a lot of other powerful guns. You don't always have to get those snipers in play. And it's a pretty similar situation for Adimka. He's normally been picking up the sniper on the Avenue side. I think if you see those snipers get into fights, I'd give the slight edge to Icons, I think. But again, they've been so close. They really have been back and forth. So it's really tough to see, you know, a massive difference between any of these players even.
Yeah, like we said, this is going to be a very, very close game. A best of 5, 1 round advantage already going to Avenue. And so with only 4 maps to play, I feel like they've got a favorite in that sense, that they've got the map advantage.
Yeah.
But again, if Endpoint can manage to claim the first map, all things even, Avenue are going to go from being in a very advantageous position coming in today without even having to play, to having to really fight for this win. I think it's all going to be on the first map, really. The mental state of either team will be massively impacted by it.
Yeah, I think Avenue shouldn't be as affected if they lose this first map. just because they know they have the map advantage and they've got a ton of experience on their side, just from, you know, the old Call of Duty games, that these guys are very experienced players. Endpoint are the same to some extent, but just the fact that you go 2-0 down, I mean, that's never a good sound in a best-of-5 series. You know, Avenue, to be fair, they've worked their way through the upper bracket. Obviously, they deserve this map advantage, and we'll see if they can extend that even further here today.
Players beginning to ready up. It looks like we'll be underway very, very shortly. The final conversations happening now. Bit of tape for mouse. For the mouses being deployed. The mice, not the mouses.
Last second changes coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Need some technical fixes for that.
Nice little wave. There we go.
A little bit of love being shown by Avenue. We should be going underway very shortly. Like I said, some players just fixing up their physical setups as they're getting ready to go, making sure there's no sound issues, mouse issues, everything like that.
Yeah.
Even the slightest error here could cost them the series and the tournament.
Yeah, I think Endpoint are pretty happy to play on the stage. We had an interview with Endpoint yesterday. Obviously, they were playing in the BYOC, you know, area yesterday, so you know they were having their own setups. You know, maybe not the best of setups in some situations. I think it was Sus who was playing on a 75 hertz monitor. So I
think there were 3 players actually.
Yeah, it was a couple of them. So I think they were pretty happy to get on stage today. They were saying that that's the reason they couldn't beat Avenue yesterday. I mean, now they've got to live up to that hype. They've got to prove that they are better on the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. They did feel that they were the better team yesterday. It just didn't quite go their way. A lot of the rounds coming down to 1 versus 1s and very close battles. So I think with the 144 hertz monitors and equal PCs, we should see Endpoint putting up a much better fight today. The game will be going live shortly. I think the players have all readied up at this point, and round 1 should be good to go within the next few seconds. And this is it. I'm about to decide round numero uno.
Yeah, so we will head into the game. Already you can see Adimka picking up that sniper as you would expect. And on the Endpoint side of things, I think Icons also has one, so that's going to be something to watch for. These fights down mid can be very long range, those snipers massively favored, but we're not going to see any early fights here. A slow start. It's also worth mentioning those pre-nades can come in right at the start of the round. You always have to be on your toes, looking up at the sky, seeing if a nade is about to land in your face. Luckily for both teams, neither of them have taken any fights just yet. You can see on the mini-map, Axis side just holding back patiently, no real pushes coming in. You can see Endpoint making some moves up mid, and there we go. Adimka already finding the first. That is that sniper making the difference. It very much can do so. Manor House can have very long-range fights, and Adimka proving that, finds the first.
It's worth mentioning there's still some nades in play for the Axis. Mark getting pushed down there. Kostya is now deploying his nade over towards B.
There we go. Well, we're going to see Mark make his way forwards with this STG back towards his B site. Shots coming in from Sus, but Mark is just going to sit patiently. And with 35 seconds here, Endpoint have to make a move soon. Sus has that bomb in his hands right now, and he doesn't have too much support. The push is going to have to come in here, and Sus needs this opening. This is so critical. Mark sitting behind the smoke. 20 seconds. Endpoint finally push. Kostya holding up close. Has this STG, but it's Mark to get the first. This is Endpoint just collapsing. They're stuck in a 2v5. And with 10 seconds, I think this looks like a bit of a nervy round from Endpoint. They finally get some trades, but it's way too late. And it's Avenue already hyping themselves up. They take a convincing first round. And I have to say, that looked a bit nervy from Endpoint there.
Indeed it did. They got pressured out a lot. The time is starting to tick down. They're just going to push in towards the sites, doing a very good job of avoiding those nades at the start. And indeed in the middle, as we saw some late nades being deployed by Kostya over towards the B site. Not going to land anything though. And unusual to see a round like that, the first round, being deployed without a single nade kill. What was quite unusual as well was that we didn't see any nades coming down the middle area. It is a very common spot. There's a tree down towards mid, which makes it very difficult to fight off, to spot that nade coming in. It can bounce down just behind the leaves, and by the time you see it, it's a little bit too late because it's blowing up in your face.
Well, I think Yeah, I think as you were saying, I mean, those smokes in towards mid are something we've pretty consistently seen, but here we go, straight back into the action, and there's that smoke in towards mid. This is what we're expecting to see. Adimka not going to have as good of a chance with this sniper to get the opening. He's just waiting patiently pretty far back. This is generally the position you will see him play. With that smoke up, though, he hasn't got much of a chance for an opening kill. And let's see if Endpoint decides to go for a faster paced push here, because previously there, the time really sort of pressured them into that push. They couldn't set up the trades well enough. I think Endpoint are going to want to go for a much faster play into this second round.
Absolutely, and stacking up towards the A side, it looks like that may in fact be the case. It's a bit of a slow round for now, but they'll probably be pressuring it out all at once with a blitz down towards that site. It is being stacked pretty heavily though, not the usual hole that we see coming in over towards A, as Money picks up the first kill. Axis trading it back as Mark picks up one, but B side is pretty open at this point. Mark, the closest player, over towards Barney, has to cross over to the B site now. He's not going to be spotted going over there, but he's got to be careful because Saint Six is already in position and picking up that kill. Things getting a little bit more difficult now as there's only going to be 3 Axis alive, and they've pretty much given up control of that B side. It's only Adimka looking for the aggression, not going to find anything though. He's going to find Jay Money, who's taking him out. It's all going to be Quirks now. He's got to find himself 4 kills, and things not looking too good in this second round for Avenue.
Yeah, and this is something to watch for on Manor House. That B site where we just saw Endpoint push, that is going to be where most of the action comes into play. Oftentimes you will see those opening fights come through there, and if Endpoint win them, they can get onto the site pretty quickly, and the only real way to stop that plant from coming in is down to those nades. That's why Avenue are going to have to hold on some of those nades. You can see a lot of the teams as well, they have those nades set up to try and deny that bomb plant, specifically so that it goes straight onto the site. You can throw it over the top, and that's something you will see come out from both teams. But 1-1 scoreline heading into round 3. Both teams get off the mark. Let's see who can take this early lead.
And the sniper being deployed on Adimka yet again. He's looking down towards outside B, not looking to give up the site that early this time. And this is why we're seeing the stack over towards A. They've actually deployed their sniper towards B instead of over on that middle angle, which is a little bit unusual. Adimka can get pushed down pretty quickly, but with Sus trying to bait out a shot there, it looks like it will be the initial kill from Saint Six, and Adimka not going to be able to do anything over towards B as the rotation has to come to A at this point.
Push is coming in towards the trenches. That's that card picked up. We are going to be watching on towards Saint Six. He already found the first kill of this round. You can see they've got those nades very well lined up. Smoke going to go in towards B. Is Chet, though, getting pretty aggressive. The SDG rattling off the shots, but Icons takes him down. Quick trade comes out from Adimka. That's the sniper dropped. That could be fairly important heading into this one. Endpoint might want to recover that, but remember, Endpoint still have the man advantage even with that trade from Adimka, but he gets a second. Adimka stepping it up with that sniper brings his team back into an even position, and with 30 seconds left, Endpoint lean towards A.
Indeed, it's going to be Sus. He's already on the site, actually. Made it all the way over to the bomb site. It's going to be Quirks taking first contact. He takes down Jay Money. Sus knows that he's there now. He can cover the plant as it comes in. They've got to be worried about mid at this point because they've had no control for about 30 seconds there.
There's 10 seconds. They've got to get this bomb down now.
Indeed, they do. It's got to be the cover from Sus. He's got to just bank on that angle. No, he looks towards mid. Like I said, they've got to be worried about it, but now it's all going to be fancy. He's got to find himself 3 and being pushed down from all angles. It's going to be very difficult. He's not going to pick it up as it is Quirks taking him down with the 3K from Quirks as another round goes in favor of Avenue. 2-1. This is something that became pretty characteristic in the previous games between Avenue and Endpoint. The initial few rounds going back and forth, 1-for-1 trades pretty much all day long.
Yeah. I think we're having a couple of technical issues right now, just trying to make sure the players are all 100% fine for the game, of course. So going to be a bit of a slow start, but again, Avenue take the 2-1 lead. We've seen in these early rounds, Endpoint take things really rather slowly. It's very, very likely, though, that at some point we will see Endpoint go for a quicker B push. That's something they've shown they can do in the past. But this time around, again, Endpoint going to spread out. They still have this sniper of Icons, so he's going to try and see if he can get an opening for this ally side. Remember, they're the ones that have to push, but it's Kostya trying to get up close. Saint, though, is going to take him down. So Avenue, this time, lose the opening battle. Back down into a 4 versus 5. Saint is going to just decide to fall back. So after getting the man advantage, Endpoint, we've seen them already play slowly. Now that they're in a 5-on-4, it looks like they are certainly happy to just slow things down and keep this advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to push in too quickly and give it away, especially not with Adimka there with the sniper rifle over towards B. It is a two-man stack covered by Mark, who's in that close angle with an STG, not the usual gun you'd see positioned there. Usually we see Saint 6 in the Endpoint side sitting there with the shotgun. But the Avenue hold going to be taking the STG instead, and we saw Mark holding off a push very well with this the other day and starting it off with 1 kill. It's looking good, but his position is now known. He can't really move back towards the door as he doesn't know if he's being watched from mid. Indeed, shots coming in there. Oh, a nice kill. It's going to be Mark peeking out and getting traded back by J Money now with 3v3 as the B side opens up a little bit. Things looking good for Endpoint as they've got control with the bomb plant coming down. No nades to deny that plant, but it is going to be Chet taking that fight, not quite landing the shots onto the sniper of Icons. And with 2 left on the Axis side, this is going to be a very difficult retake. Luckily, they are pretty spread out, so they'll be able to come from 2 angles.
Yeah, Avenue now are the ones that are forced to push forwards. With 30 seconds left, they have to make their way back towards this site, but it's just not going to be happening. Quirks has to find them all. He gets a quick headshot, but he's only got 22 seconds. He needs these kills so quickly, and you can see he's trying to clear every single angle. It's so difficult to find these frags here. Icon's going to peek out. The sniper isn't going to get the kill because it's J Money who closes the round out. And Endpoint again proves that they can very well compete here. We've seen this be a very back and forth start, and you can see at the top of your screen now, these are the cards coming into play. Both teams still have 2 sniper cards left, so they're not going to be too worried about that for the time being. Both teams can still pick up those snipers. It's only really when you see sort of consistent round wins that that starts to become a factor.
Indeed. No card's going to really be taken off them, as you said. They have the ability to take them back, and with the snipers dying not too far away from their teammates, there's no real opportunity for the cards to be taken away. Another slow round coming in from Endpoint. They seem to be gravitating over towards the A site, taking full control of middle now. They have got the ability to split towards the trenches, but they've got to be careful because Adimka is there. He's catching out the peak from Sus. 25 HP left. He does survive that engagement. Oh, Adimka, what a shot. An angle that I don't think many people know about, but Endpoint might know about it now.
Yeah, the jump accuracy is certainly a thing in this game, so you can afford to try those jump peaks. Adimka proves that. He gets the opening kill through, and that's also the enemy sniper dropped. Icons loses it, but J Money has decided to pick that sniper up and see if he can be as good with it. He's not generally the sniper of the team, though, so we'll see if he can step things up. And this is the angle we were talking about. Adimka, he's playing towards the B site, but he's spotting in towards A, and as the push comes in, Adimka could have been in trouble, but I don't think Sus is going to get the kill just yet. 30 seconds, and the nade pulled out at just the wrong time. It's Avenue to extend their advantage. A 5-on-3 for the defense, and they will be liking their chances. Endpoint have to push now. Here we go, Kozja holding up close. Ooh, the head spotted out, but the kill doesn't come in. J Money switching over to that more standard rifle. The bomb plant is going to come down. There goes Saint getting 1 kill before the trade comes out. Chet finds another, and it's all up to the last man, J Money, to clutch a 1-on-3. Nade's coming in towards him. He has to fight every single angle. Gets the first. A rapid shot comes in, and J Money could still pull this one off. He's trying to push forwards, trying to spot the players. Does damage, but not the kill. And J Money now is going to have to go for that reload. Quirks, though, hunting him down up close. The push comes in. Ooh, J Money connects a shot, but it's not enough. Quirks survives on 30 HP, and Avenue consistently taking the lead here. They are back in the ascendancy.
But every time they take that lead, Endpoint are right behind them. Let's see if they can do it again. They need to be careful not to give Avenue too much of a lead. The Axis side should come out of this on top. So if Endpoint can keep up on the tails of Avenue, things will go well for them. We're going to see the sniper card again on Adimka. That's been pretty incredibly used so far. A good jump shot. Like you said, the jumping accuracy of the sniper is a thing in this game. As long as you're not moving left or right, it is pretty much 100% accurate. And a good nade coming in from Chet. Remains to see if that's going to find anything, though.
Yeah, unfortunately bounces back, so I don't think it went where he wanted to, but an off angle from Chet, trying to play in towards that barn. Not going to be successful in doing so. Another nade comes in, but Sus can spot that one out. So no real damage done, but just as I say that, Avenue get a couple of entries. Again, Fancy has been so good with the nades throughout this tournament. That is going to be successful for at least one trade back, but it's Endpoint again at a disadvantage. They have to push towards a site from a 3 versus 4, and considering we've seen Avenue pretty consistently hold B so far, they might like their chances, but look at the position Sus has got himself into this barn. He could be a really pivotal player. Avenue now have to be worried about multiple angles, and in a 3 versus 3, this is very doable now for Endpoint with how much map control they have.
Indeed, especially on the Allied side. If they move over towards that A site, they're only going to find one player there, and that's going to make things a lot easier for them as they'll face into a 3v1. It looks like they are going to be moving over towards there, where it's only going to be Quirks holding off, and he hears the steps, so he knows the players are coming. Is he going to be able to hold off against the push, though?
Ooh. Push comes in and Quirks needs to round the corner, jumping around, but he doesn't get the kill. He had all the information yet there, and yet he doesn't find a single frag. And that's an issue for Avenue because they now have to retake in a 2 versus 3. You can see Kostya with this SMG. He's been one of Avenue's better players, but he's yet to get on the scoreboard in this game. So that's something that's going to have to be stepping up into these future rounds. And it's Kostya already left in a 1-on-3. He does get the first kill. Spots out the second player, but the SMG is going to have to get up close, and already shot in the back. Not going to be happening. Sus gets the trade, and this has literally been back and forth every single time. One round won by Avenue, brought straight back by Endpoint, and we're back to a 3-3 scoreline.
And we'd expect nothing less from the grand final. Endpoint, I have to say, looking a little bit better coming into this. It is the Allied side. If they can manage to bring this to 6-6, they're going to look very strong on the Axis, who have got a pretty big advantage. What's interesting is we're not seeing the Kar98K really being used on Avenue's side. They're a team, I think I said this last time, they don't really come through with that Kar98K all the time. It's a little bit unusual because it does give you a massive advantage. And it looks like Mark is in a good position to get some SDG kills up on top of that box. It's Icons opening up the round though, so Mark's going to need to get those trade backs pretty quick.
Yeah, Icons with that sniper, again, consistently performing well for the team. Not sure he's going to find too much more, though, because that smoke is up, but Adimka could peek in towards him. This is awkward. Pete coming in. It's actually Saint elsewhere to get another kill through. Endpoint keep on going. Icons did get that kill through with the sniper, and they're up to a 5 versus 2 now. A flurry of frags for Endpoint, and this could very well be the first time Endpoint have the lead in this game so far. Kostya with the shotgun misses the first, does eventually get the frag through, but that's just a consolation at this point. Avenue still stuck down in a 2 versus 4 disadvantage.
Endpoint looking good to take the lead for, I think, the first time so far. And moving over towards that A side. Oh, another kill found. It's only going to be one player left alive on the Avenue side. And it's looking very good for Endpoint as they're going to be moving over towards A. That bomb plant will go down. And Chet, 4 kills to find. Has got the STG. We saw Mark do it previously, but in a clutch with the bomb down. It's not going to happen. J Money is watching the mid angles. And Endpoint in the lead for the first time of the series. And looking good so far. But are Avenue going to be able to get the trade back on rounds the same way Endpoint were able to? That is the real question. Dimka picking up the sniper with Icons as well. We may see the sniper battle coming in, as I imagine they'll switch things up now on their Axis side. They're becoming a little bit predictable for Endpoint. We might see a Dimka moving towards mid with it.
Something we haven't seen too much of are those shotguns. I mean, we saw Kostya there picking up that shotgun. He did manage to get the 1 kill with it, but Manor House is a much more open map, so we're not seeing those shotguns come into play as often. You can see Fancy avoiding the nade, J Money rattling off some shots, and Endpoint making some aggressive pushes. Again, Sus pushing in towards those trenches, trying to make his way forwards. Looks like it's going to be a slower start to the round, though. Sus could be the man to try and open things up. That nade not going to connect. And as Sus pushes forwards here, he's not making too much noise. Jump peek comes in. Sus not going to be able to connect, but it's Saint 6 who's already found the first. Again, Endpoint good for the opener. Somehow Sus is alive here, spraying away. He takes Mark down. And again, Endpoint just get a quick flurry of frags across the entire map. Finally, Chet gets one back, but this is what I was talking about. Avenue, they really do rely on just taking individual fights. And when that doesn't go your way, it looks awful, as has been the case here. A 5-on-2 in favor of Endpoint, and they will be liking their chances right now as they do indeed close out another round.
You know, that gap starting to spread open now, and already this has been a good half for Endpoint. If they finish this with 5 rounds, things are going to be looking very good for them on the Axis side. But they're looking to spread that even more. Looking for that 6th round now, as we're going to see Adimka taking another sniper card. Only 1 left in stock for Avenue. So he's going to have to start being a little bit careful, as we're only on the 7th round. Another 5 to play through. If they do lose these sniper cards, Icons will start taking control of the middle angle with it. Although they haven't really been challenging it too much, as Adimka will once again go over towards B with the sniper. With Mark actually holding the push up from mid from the barn. That's a very unusual setup to play.
Ooh, Adimka gets the first kill with the sniper over towards B. So Avenue looking to claw their way back here. Remember, the Axis team will be hoping to get 7 rounds on the board, so they need a flawless end to this half here. Otherwise, Avenue will be slightly behind. We are going to see the push come in. Again, this awkward fight coming through, but Kozja might want to change that. He's going aggressive, but I think Sus has just fallen back, so there's not going to be the chance for him to get the kill anytime soon. With 50 seconds left, though, Sus is actually sticking around, but no push coming in. So it is going to be just that 4-on-5 for Endpoint. We saw them in that first round struggle for time. Again, a nice angle here to try and take down Fancy. More importantly, just slow him down. Push coming in, Sus up close again, hoping for the jumping shots. They're going to overwhelm the opponent as Sus gets into that barn. And Adimka now has the sniper on the B site. He could be in trouble. The pistol out, he's going to get shot in the back. Ooh, Chet gets a knife kill somewhere. A knife comes back at him. I don't know what the hell's going on, but all I do know is that Quirks is left in a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, what was that? Trades back and forth. Avenue going for the 1v1 fights, and look at this. Quirks picking up 1. The planter is down and the time is gone. What a play by Quirks to win that round. He's actually going to run back towards. They might actually just have enough time.
Oh, what?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
That was... I don't even know what to say there. The bomb went down after the round. I think the time just about ran out, but Chet decides to stick there and take that fight. I suppose if he does jump out towards the spawn area, towards that second middle area, they could have peeked through the new door on the site to find him as he crossed back. So really he was kind of cornered in there, and really well played by Endpoint to hunt down that kill just in time. I think they were milliseconds late for the defuse, or for the plant, I should say.
It was incredibly close either way, so I understand why he was thinking of sticking around, but losing that fight right at the end there ends up costing them the round. Endpoint already up to a 6-3 advantage. Nades coming in, just about avoided. We haven't seen too many of those nades connect for any openings so far. Both teams doing a pretty good job at avoiding those, which, you know, is certainly good for both of the teams. Generally, whoever loses that first pick, especially very early on into the round, really struggles. Either way, Mark gets hunted down again. Fairly often, we're seeing Avenue fight alone. They should be ready to get these trades on the Axis side. That's the advantage of being on that defensive side. But that's not been the case. We've seen them try to make some more individual plays. And Adimka has at least got 1 kill back. The sniper continuing to fight, but he's going to be forced to fall back. And Endpoint get a kill elsewhere. So a 4 versus 3 for Endpoint to play from. Looking good for them so far. Sus chunked down low, but the regen will come in. Trades continue to come back and forth, but still the man advantage for Endpoint.
And they're going to hold on to that pretty well. There is a push coming through on A, though. This could be a little bit risky, as it seems that Quirks has got a pretty advanced position in that barn. Is he going to be checked is the question. Kostya baiting for him. I think the player's not up nice and close. It's going to be Quirks looking for the kill. Look, he's behind that hay bale. I haven't seen that used before. He knows the players have pushed in now. He's going to find 1 in the back, but he's waiting, biding his time. Look at this play. Oh, Jay shuts him down. It's all on Kostya now. A great play by Jay to check that corner. So unlucky.
Yeah, well, Endpoint are going to get another round win. That was a really cool off angle, but just waiting a little bit too long there in terms of pulling the trigger. He was trying to get the 2 frags from that position, and that did not come through. And you can see now those sniper cards finally coming into effect. Adimka has to go down to the STG. He cannot get that sniper into this round. So in towards mid, you would expect Endpoint to be able to dominate those long-range engagements. Icons will get to have the chance to do so with that sniper. It is going to be at the start of the round, both teams taking things pretty slowly. Avenue again with a similar B setup. Adimka's going to push though. Again, he's pushing somewhat alone. Avenue have been playing these risky positions, but Endpoint just been holding back. Peak comes in, easy kill for Sus, and Avenue continue to try and force these fights. They don't have to do that, but they're consistently trying to get that man advantage, and it's costing them here. It's a 5v4 yet again for Endpoint.
It's all going to be on Quirks over towards the A site, but it looks like Endpoint moving over towards B. The bomb is sitting over at the tree. Hoping it rhymes today. Adimka has already fallen with the sniper rifle. So they might think there's one less player over towards B, and they would be right. Chet is watching the door from Barn. As Sus pushes up, he's not going to be spotted, but he hasn't checked the close right corner, and a spam from Mark will take him down. Coster taking a kill elsewhere. Now with 3v4, and the man advantage swinging the way of Avenue.
There we go, extended even further. Kozjev finds his second kill of the round, and Endpoint are going to have to try and make this happen. Ooh, okay, there goes a kill through. It was actually Saint to steal that one away. Icons tries to switch weapons, but not going to be possible. They had to push towards B, and Avenue had a massive rotation through. That being said, we're heading into the last round of the half, and Endpoint will already be delighted. They've got 7 rounds on the more difficult side. Whatever happens here, Endpoint are already big favorites heading into the second half, and Avenue are going to have to do a lot of work, but they are at least finally getting some rounds on the board.
Absolutely. 7 rounds is what I would kind of expect to see Avenue coming out of this half with, and Endpoint know that very well. They're going to be feeling great, as you said, moving on to their Axis side, regardless of how this round goes, but they're going to look to claim it as they move over towards the A site. There's only going to be one player there, or the 4-man sack towards B, and it's not going to matter. Jet getting picked down over towards B. Now, man advantage towards Endpoint as the bomb sitting in the middle. Jay maybe playing a little bit aggressive there with that bomb. Oh, and Quirk's getting a nade kill. That's going to trade it back. He still is alone over on that site, though. Very isolated. Dipka going to move in to help him towards the barn. He'll probably watch towards that long angle. Indeed, he does. Another kill coming in. There's only going to be 2 left to find at this point.
Well, there we go. Avenue are going to take the last round of the half pretty convincingly, winning with 4 players surviving. And that means that at the half, they will at least have an okay scoreline. But it's certainly Endpoint who will be the happier of the 2 teams. They will, of course, swap sides heading into the second half. And remember, towards the end there, Avenue was struggling to get those sniper cards out, which can be very important. That mid position is so open that when those snipers come in, there's not much you can do if you don't have that sniper in play. So that's something that will be reset heading into the second half. And we will get to see Adimka pick up that sniper again, as does Icons on the Endpoint side.
Jay Money, 16 for 7 on that half. As we're going live, they appear to be moving over towards the A site, and a nice nade coming in as Mark takes down Sus. Now moving back into the action. Icons, oh, he's found out with that sniper. He's out in the open all alone. Nobody watching that mid-angle for him. That's going to be a good opening kill for Avenue, especially with those kills clocking up. Fancy getting shot in the back as well. A great kill from Adimka over towards Barn is going to leave 1 player alive, and that is Saint 6. He's got 2 to find, and this is going to be very difficult for Saint to clutch out.
Ooh, bomb goes down. And I think that Saint is trying to switch weapon. There we go. He's going to switch it up. 3 bullets in the clip. This is not going to be easy. He switches up to that sniper. No, just picks up the sniper card instead. And again, remember, 3 bullets here. Oh, he gets the first kill through. Back into a 1v1. The shotgun is out. Is he going to get this kill up close? Chet reloading. Push coming in. Saint doesn't get the kill. It's Chet to close out the round. A good effort from Saint there. Trying to switch over to the shotgun up close, but just not quite enough. It is going to be Avenue to get that first round after winning those opening trades.
Not too much else you can expect from Saint. He manages to get that first kill. Would have been great if he got the second, but not going to follow it through. And that is going to be another round coming through for Avenue, closing that gap a little bit. It's starting to look a little bit better for them. 6-7. And 1 more round will bring them to an equalizer. Still going to favor Endpoint moving forward, though, as they are on their Axis side. Comes along with a pretty heavy advantage.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why these nades are consistently thrown, even though those nades aren't getting kills, they're slowing the opponents down because the opposite side, they have to stop, physically stop to make sure they don't get killed by those nades. So that's why consistently you'll see those thrown, just so that you can get into a good position. And we are already going to see Avenue again get that opening pick. We said that they might struggle on this Allies side, but Avenue so far doing a really good job at finding those openings. Again, it's a Dimka doing that with the sniper. Fancy does get the first up close, and this is an awkward position. The push comes in. Fancy doesn't expect the players to be so far pushed up, but it's still back into a 3v3, and you can see J Money with the Kar 98 holding that long-range angle alongside Sus. So Endpoint don't have anyone committed to holding this site, but they have players far back trying to land these long-range shots. And here we go, the push is being prepared. Smoke isn't quite successful. Sus finally gets smoked off. No, he can see through this one. Can Sus get a kill here? A nade comes in. It's J Money to get a frag in the meantime. Sus should spot the player. This is so awkward. Does get the kill, and it's up to Quirks. He's pushed onto the site, and he's actually got the first kill there. Quirks may be having a chance. With 15 seconds, he's going to look to get the bomb down. That site is very wall-bangable, but it's not going to come in. So Quirks gets the plant down. Looking for the first kill, spots the player, but gets caught off from both angles. So Endpoint with a nice passive A-hold, but they got the frags they needed.
Indeed, the plant does come down, but no reward for that other than potentially it blowing up as it gets diffused. Avenue not going to come out of that round looking any better than if they hadn't have gotten the plant. Endpoint picking up their 8th round, a 2-round gap on the Axis side, looking pretty good for them, as they're only going to need 5 more rounds to claim this win. Avenue, meanwhile, have a lot of catching up to do. And Dimka going to be looking to open things up with that sniper card. Moving himself up towards the house. Probably going to watch for that B cross. Indeed he is, looking down towards B. Will he spot out the player on the cross here? Saint Six just about making it across the door without being spotted. Doesn't look like he'll be getting an opening kill from that angle anyways.
In the pre-game as well, we mentioned Saint Six loves that shotgun. He didn't pick it up in the first half, but heading into this Axis side, you can kind of dictate where you want to take the fights. So Saint Six decides to pick up the shotgun now so he can play close range. In the meantime, on the Avenue side of things, Kozja taking a fight. Sus only going to tag him down, and the regen will come in, so Kozja will be back to full health in no time. It is going to be Avenue leaning over towards A again here. We saw them get onto the site last round, but they lost players in the process, so they're going to have to make sure they can get these trades in if they want to get onto this A site. And it looks like that seems to be the end goal of this round, as Fancy, very exposed, is going to fall. He's just got no cover there. An easy kill for Chet. The push going to come in towards the site, and Avenue, they gain a man advantage. It is traded back as the fights come through elsewhere. Kozja in the air, SMG doing damage, is going to hunt down the kill, and it's looking good for Avenue. They do get a man advantage after the bomb goes down.
Icon's in a good position to pick up a kill. He has already lit Quirks up, but I don't think he knows that. Quirks getting a little bit brave. Looks like he might be going for the peek onto Icons with that sniper, and certainly no peeks need to come in from Avenue right now. They've got that side on lockdown, lots of crossfires, Chet and Quirks holding some great angles. It's going to be pretty much impossible for Icons to pick up the 2 of them. Jumps in just as Quirks is distracted. He's going to manage the tag. Unfortunately, he was moving slightly as he jumped, so that accuracy goes down a little bit. I think he hit the leg of Chet. And that'll be another round for Avenue, looking pretty good. 7-8, closing the gap up and looking to get that 8-8 round tie. I think Endpoint still in a good position. Only 5 rounds away from victory. Axis side, they've certainly got the favor with the ability to buy those Kar 98Ks and the start of round nades, which we haven't seen being deployed all too frequently. We did say that this team has pretty consistently been using their nades across all maps to success, but so far nothing all too fancy coming in with those nades.
Yeah, and we did see Icons there get that opening again with that sniper. We've seen him be pretty good at getting that opening for the most part. It's going to be Fancy to find yet another kill for Endpoint. J Money also comes through with a frag. They're just finding kills all across the map. We can't even catch the action. It's coming in so quickly. Push comes out. It's going to be Sus to get the frag through, and Mark is the only man left. He is going to get the 1 kill, but he isn't really going to have too much of a chance.
No, he's not. He's going to be peeking straight into Sus with the Kar 98K and completely take him out. And now a 9th round claimed for Endpoint. They're looking very strong moving forward, about to hit double digits unless Avenue can make something happen fast. And with the sniper card on a Dimka being probably their best hope, I'd imagine they'll deploy him towards the middle area this round. He hasn't really been claiming that on either side so far. And Icons has had pretty much free reign over towards A with the sniper.
Yeah, I believe that's where he got the opening kill in that last round as well. We are going to see the mid smokes come into play. Sus hoping for a lucky shot, but he's not going to find one. It's pretty common to just see that spam come in. Ooh, that nade could be good if the push were to come forward. Sorry, it's a smoke to slow them down. So that's actually a really well deployed smoke as the push comes in. Sus gets a cheeky kill over the top of the wood. Jump shot coming through, and Sus, as I said, he's quite good at getting those openings. He's done so again, but it's quickly traded back elsewhere.
Indeed, a 4 versus 4 underway. The smoke coming down from Jay as Mark pushes through there. He is spotted. Jay now knows that he's close to that white box. Decides to push up a little bit closer with the Kar 98K. That's a brave move. If he gets fast pushed down here, it's going to be hard for him to land these shots. His teammates not really in a position to help either. As that nade comes in, he's going to have to find 1 kill onto Mark at least, because he's about to be pushed down. But here comes Fancy to his rescue, picking up 1 kill. Mark now trapped in that close right angle. Fancy watching the cross back. It's going to be Jay Money sitting on the back of the site, playing a little bit passive, not giving those opening kills away. The 2-man advantage in possession of Endpoint. Mark has to do something here. I don't know if he spotted out the barrel of Sus. He certainly saw him now as Adimka takes him out. It's going to be Fancy and J Money holding down this side as the rotation has to come in from Icons, who has managed to pick up 1 kill. The time so low that the push had to come in there fast. Pushing straight into Icons, holding the cross on that door. A beautiful angle from him as he claimed control of the house. That was a little risky of him to push up A like that all by himself to take control of the house. I know they knew there was 1 player there. That other guy could have been watching the A flank. And with the sniper rifle, Icons could have been taken down pretty quickly, but does survive it, manages to pick up a kill, and moving into the 18th round, Endpoint have hit double digits with a 3-round gap between them and Avenue. Only 3 more rounds until the map score will be 1-1 if Endpoint get their way.
Ooh, Sus getting aggressive in towards mid. He nearly had the chance for an opening kill there, but the timing not quite right. As I was saying, Sus really likes to play aggressive just at the start, try and get 1 kill, and then generally he's happy with that. He's happy to fall back. Smoke going to be deployed at a good time as well, because Avenue were looking to line up that push. There goes Fancy, only getting the 1 frag. A lot of information, though, that Avenue have got 2 players over towards A. And as the push comes in, it's Icons and Sus between them to both get a frag through. Sus still looking for a little bit more up close here with the car. He could be in trouble, but it's Saint who gets another kill with the shotgun. Endpoint looking good as Sus gets the final kill in. And Endpoint with a pretty considerable lead now. They're 11-7 up, only 2 rounds away from getting this first map win. And if Endpoint take this map, we're back to a 1-1 scoreline, and a very exciting grand final would be lined up for us.
Indeed, they are low on snipers, though. If Icons does lose this sniper, Adimka could have free reign. Actually, he doesn't. I don't think he picked up the sniper this round, Adimka. No. Maybe opting for a little bit of a faster strategy, picking up that M1 Grand. We might see a fast push coming in from the Avenue side. A 4-round gap. They've certainly got to change something up. And sticking together early round, moving over towards B. Looks like the fast push is real.
Avenue, yeah, with 4 players over towards B. They're not committing to the push just yet, but it's Saint 6 with this shotgun. He loves this position, already getting the first kill in. Smoke going to be going over the top, but it's already a man advantage for Endpoint. And that smoke should help Saint with the shotgun. Finally gets traded on, though. Really nice angle there on the edge of the smoke from Quirks. But they still have 3 more players to find in this 2 versus 3. Push coming in again. J Money playing close with that car. If he misses 1 shot, he could be in a world of trouble. Icons, though, with the sniper, doesn't pull the trigger. Push comes in, and the knife comes out. Icon's missing another shot, so Avenue, they managed to get their way towards the site. This could be dangerous now, but Fancy pushes in, gets the first, not the second. Trey comes out, but there is Icon's pistol in hand to get that final frag through, and they are 1 round away from equalizing the scoreline.
Indeed, that looked like an interesting way to use the sniper there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pistol in hand. He manages to claim match point for his team now, 12-7. Only 1 round left for Endpoint. They're going to be feeling great as they're about to equalize this map score 1-1. And we can see the players looking pretty happy right now as the potentially final round, the match point round, goes underway.
Here we go. 5 map points, and Fancy gets that opener with the nade. Starts spraying away there. With the STG, you don't generally look to take that fight, but he took Adimka down to 12 HP. Luckily for Adimka, he could fall back, so he will start to regenerate up to full health, and it will only be the 1-man advantage for Endpoint, but that still could certainly be considerable in what could be the last round of this first map. Endpoint looking good to get this round again. They've been looking good on their Axis side as well. So Avenue are going to have an incredible performance. 5 rounds in a row is what they need just for overtime. And it's all going to start with overcoming this 4v5.
They haven't so far been able to take the opening picks. And like you said, the team that gets the opening pick usually comes away with the round. And Endpoint certainly looking strong at the moment. Icon's missing the shot, though. It will be traded out by Sus. He actually did get the tag. And now 5v3, 2-man disadvantage. This is going to be very difficult for Avenue to come back into. They need to win this round, of course, and every round thereafter. Fancy picking up 1 kill on the bomb, and a second, a nice headshot. Only Adimka left to find. 14 bullets left. Fancy's going to go for this. He wants that 3K to close this out. There it is, a 4K altogether. Holding down that push perfectly, and the map will go in favor of Endpoint. And I'm pretty happy to see them take that. Now 1-1 as we move into the next few maps of the best of 5. I think this is going to go the distance unless Endpoint can take that 3-1.
Yeah, definitely. And I think overall there, Endpoint just going to be really happy to equalize the scoreline on Manor House, a map I don't think we've seen them play too often. Actually, they did play it on the last day of Friday against Penta. That was a ridiculously close game. I think that went to overtime, so I'm sure they're happy they got a bit of an easier win this time out. But yeah, got to give credit. Fancy closing it out with the 3K, and we've got an exciting series lined up. Let's see if Avenue can step things up after this quick break.
Absolutely.